Do the Padres need to make a big splash in free agency? It is the wrap-up show with Jon, that's me, and Jim, that's you, Jim. We will be with you for the next 40 minutes or so as the hot stove's about to begin. I mean, the World Series is tied, obviously, but we're just a couple of days away from free agency starting. So Jon and Jim with you on the wrap-up show. Please subscribe if you're here live or on replay. Smash the like button for us. Follow us on Twitter at Jon Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. If you want to become a member, you get custom emojis like Jim Sucks. That's a very popular emoji. You can click the join button down below. It is popular. And if you want to make sure we get your comment here today, if you have a free agency question, click the $ in the chat box down below. We'll get to all of your super chats. We appreciate your support of the channel. We'll get to all of the supers here today. We've talked about this a little bit on both the wrap-up show and on radio. This is a team that's already going to be approaching $200 million in salary once you get towards the start of 2023, and that's without free agency. That's just with opt-ins and arbitration-eligible players. Of course, Fernando Tatis Jr. is returning as well. But when you look towards 2023, Jim, do they need to add a significant piece in order to get over the hump next season?
No. Well, guess what? They are adding a significant piece. His name is Fernando Tatis Jr. We need to add a significant piece like a DeGrom or Ohtani or, trade for Ohtani or sign Aaron Judge. No, you are getting back a potentially top 10, if healthy and right, top 5 player in all of baseball. So I don't think they need to make a big time splash. They've made their big time splash. They got Juan Soto at the trade deadline to pair with Tatis and Machado. They need to get the complementary pieces and round out the roster with depth to get them through a 162 game season. And then when you get to the postseason, you have the stars already. You have Tatis, you have Soto, you got Manny, you have the pitching if they stay all healthy, and Musgrove, Darvish, and Snell. Hader to close down the games. You have the pieces. Cronenworth. You just need to get depth with this team right now to get you through a 162 game season. Not Aaron Judge or Jacob deGrom. Those players would be nice, but stop.
Full disclosure, the Aaron Judge and Jacob deGrom action photos on this video is a little bit of a way to get people into the video, okay? But there are people, and we see it on social media, that are asking about Jacob deGrom and asking about Aaron Judge. And it's not to say that they couldn't go find someone that would be a big-time addition in the Wilson Contreras ilk, in the Kodai Senga from Japan type player. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they spent $15 million a year on a player. I really wouldn't. What would shock me is if they spent $100 million plus to get someone in. I mean, they've done that with Musgrove now. They've done it with Machado. They've done it with Tatis. They've done it with whom? I mean, Darvish is making a lot per year. Snell is making a lot per year. They're not doing this cost effectively, so to speak. I mean, they're spending to win. To their credit, that's a compliment to Peter Seidler and AJ Preller. But you can't spend at every single position. In fact, I saw Will Holder today on social media talking about this, about if you added in Kodai Senga, okay, the Japanese star, and if you added back Nick Martinez, he said, would that be enough? And I said, yeah, I really think it is. You then have 5 legitimate starters. You're going to have to, at one point, count on the Adrian Morejones of the world. Not to necessarily give you 30 starts, but if you need spot starts for a month, Morejones got to be that guy. Jay Groom's got to be that guy. Reese Kinnear's got to be that guy. Orion Weathers has to be that guy. You just can't spend at every position and expect to maintain this year in and year out. So I agree with you. I don't think it's going to be a $200 million splash, but do I think that they can effectively spend 10 or 12 here, 10 or 12 there to improve this roster and get them through 162? Well, I know they're going to have to do that because the roster's not complete right now.
Right. You need, obviously, I think one of the biggest needs that they have is they got to figure out what they're going to do at catcher and first base.
Sure.
Those are the 2 spots that I'm looking at as the biggest needs offensively, right? You can talk about pitching and how pitching is more important, and I would agree with that. But the catching spot last year defensively was not good. It just wasn't. They couldn't throw any runners out. Teams were running on them at will. Defensively was not good. At the end of the year, Jorge Alfaro was unplayable. Does this team even trust Luis Campusano behind the plate? I don't think so. Is Austin Nola an everyday catcher? I don't think so. So they're going to have to figure out the catcher position and upgrade that spot defensively in a huge way. And then obviously the first base situation as well.
Sure.
Is
that's the
also
biggest.
that's
literally
huge.
Well, that's blank right now because of Drury,
there's
Bell,
nobody
Myers.
there. So you're going to
and
figure
then
out
left field.
what you're going to do there.
And left field, you know, this whole Profar, you know, is he going to get 15 plus million per year as Keith Law wrote about this past week? He says he's the 11th best free agent. He could get 15 plus potentially in the right market with the right team. Obviously, the Padres won't pay that, but what the Padres do have to their advantage is Fernando Tatis Jr. And if you have Ha-Seong Kim, who's coming off a 5-war year, and you keep him at short, well, then your left field could be occupied by Juan Soto or Fernando Tatis Jr. So that could be honestly an upgrade. Not could be, it would be an upgrade if that's just Tatis for Profar or Soto for Profar or whatever. You get the point.
Right.
Let's get to some of these supers that are rolling in. Thank you guys for your support of the channel. We are with you here on this Thursday morning, whether you're here live or on replay. We're talking Padres free agency. Make sure to subscribe, smash the like button. Thank you for the supers. Click the $ down below. Great way to support this channel. Let's start with our buddy Alex, and thank you, Alex. He says, they don't need to, but we know AJ always goes big. Now, the one thing I would say about AJ, and yes, he spent a lot of money, but he typically goes bigger in trade acquisition than he would in free agency, outside of maybe that Manny Machado deal. Right. So maybe AJ can use some creativity with his roster at the winter meetings in San Diego over the course of the offseason to upgrade this team without really spending. He might have to spend assets to go get this team better via trade, but he doesn't necessarily have to go out and spend $100 million like when he traded for Sean Manaea, or even a couple of years ago, Mike Clevenger didn't work out. I mean, these trades usually are more cost effective, although you give up assets. Potentially, that's the route they pursue.
Right. And for trades, it's one of those things where, like, you know, there's not a list of like these guys are going to get traded, and we don't know who would be a person that would be 100% traded.
Sure.
I know there's been a lot of talk about Sean Murphy from the Oakland A's as a guy that would be a massive upgrade behind the plate, but who knows if the A's are going to trade him? We talk about free agency; those guys you can get right now. So it's always hard to talk about, well, they needed to trade for this guy and this guy at the winter meetings or during the offseason because you just don't know. And so looking at the free agent names here, John, there's not really much for catchers. I mean, Austin Hedges, like, stop.
Well, Wilson Contreras, right?
Wilson Contreras, but that would warrant to me a big time splash in free agency.
Agreed. $100
and I don't think they're going that route.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at first baseman. You got Josh Bell and Brandon Drury. Those are two guys you have had in house. And then you have Jose Abreu, Anthony Rizzo. You know,
these are big time options. I mean, Jose Abreu obviously would be a huge.
Oh, that'd be a big time splash.
But these would be some real splashes.
But those are the names you have right now. You have these are the names that I would want on the Padres. Everybody else I don't know. Jose Abreu, Anthony Rizzo, Josh Bell, and Brandon Drury. That's like literally it as far as first baseman go.
You're saying first baseman, yeah, that are available as free agents as opposed to via trade. Those are some very good options, by the way.
Right.
Potentially at first base. Some of them would be more expensive, obviously, than others. Like if you bring back Josh Bell or Brandon Drury, that's going to be more cost effective than Jose Abreu, obviously. So thank you, Alex. Thank you, Zach, for the super. Then comments with this. I just got here. I'm not sure what you guys already talked about, but how do you feel about Kodai Senga? Yeah, we only started 9 or 10 minutes ago. I mean, Kodai Senga to me is the white whale. Like he will be my talking. You know, I'm going to talk about Kodai Senga.
He's your
like we talked about Seiya Suzuki of a year ago, and Suzuki I think was warranted that conversation. I really do believe that. I think he's going to be a significant piece for the Cubs. And Kodai Senga is a 29-year-old that is coming off a year in the Nippon Professional Baseball League when he went 11-6 with a 1.89 in 23 games and 148 innings. So he had he had obviously an incredible year. Did I say it? He had a 1.89, 11-6 with a 1.89. His career numbers in Japan, 2.59 in parts of 11 years. Now, he's only 29 years of age. He's going to become a free agent, and he'll be posted, I believe. He'll make his way to the States and become a major leaguer next year. I don't know what he's going to command, $10 to $15 million per year, obviously multiple years, but you need a fourth or fifth starter. And we're talking about, they're not going to spend $100 million for Contreras, or they're not going to spend, $200 million for DeGrom, or whatever it's going to cost. Well, a player like Kodai Senga is not going to cost $200 million, but is going to be at significant cost. But you need a number 4 or number 5 starter. So I would be surprised if the Padres weren't involved in those conversations, like they were for Seiya Suzuki, like they have been for other players coming over from Japan, like Shohei Ohtani, and I'm sure they'll have interest in Senga when the time is right.
Yeah, and I think if you got Kodai Senga, that is a big time splash. I don't know if they're gonna go those routes. And you look at starting pitching, John. I mean, you're not getting Jacob DeGrom.
You're not going Chris Bassett.
You're not going Verlander. You're not going Carlos Rodon. Those guys are going to get 20 plus million. Yep. I mean, you got Chris Bassett, who's a guy that's out there. But could he make $20 million a year? Because of what I think he could. And then after that, really, it's kind of you're just hoping that one of these guys that you get, if you sign a free agent starter, gives you 120 innings. And there's nobody here that that's a guarantee. So the free agent list is kind of,
is it lackluster?
Yeah. It's very lackluster. It's not
right.
Like oh my God, this guy's a free agent. This guy's a free agent. It's really not. So I think if anything, Preller will do what he's always done, and that's make trades for guys.
All right, let's get to this from Jared. Jared, awesome to have you in. Thank you for your membership. Thank you for your support of this channel. Everyone here, thank you. Whether you're here live or on replay, great to hang out. Off-season Padres content. We're doing it year-round, folks. 365. So good to have you with us here on this Thursday morning in the midst of the World Series. What a weird back and forth, crazy World Series. A no-hitter, 5-run deficits overcome. This thing could very well go 7 games, obviously. Jared, thank you. He says, get Tyler Anderson or Chris Bassett, lock up Martinez and Suarez, then Contreras and a bunch of depth pieces. This would be an amazing offseason, obviously, if you added – I mean, this isn't crazy, though. I mean, this is at least more in the realm of plausible, right? Anderson or Bassett, plausible. Martinez coming back certainly is possible. Suarez maybe a stretch. Contreras the biggest stretch in that. And then depth. I think if you took Contreras out of that super from Jared – it's at least reasonable to see that occurring.
Because Tyler Anderson has destroyed the Padres. Destroyed them. He's a crafty lefty that is a good 4th, 5th starter for sure.
Yep.
I mean, last year he had a great year, but the Dodgers were just unbeatable. And you saw what he did in the postseason versus the Padres. He just was lights out. I like Tyler Anderson. I don't think that would cost you a boatload of money, but maybe because of what Tyler Anderson did last year, he's going to demand a pretty sizable upgrade. Chris Bassett, all-star. I don't see it with Bassett just because of the money there. $20+ million pitcher there. I don't think they can afford another $20+ million pitcher. Martinez and Suarez, you would love to have them back. I think that it's the Suarez thing is interesting because he's going to demand and get a multi-year deal for. Maybe you're looking at a Drew Pomeranz type of deal.
Yep.
Can the Padres do that? They already paid Drew Pomeranz that, and Drew Pomeranz has been an absolute bust of a signing. So I don't know if they can afford to do another deal like that when they've already given one to Pomeranz. And then Contreras thing, like, dude, Contreras would be that would be a massive splash, and he's gonna demand what, John, $100+ million?
I think in the neighborhood of 100. I don't know if it's a guarantee he gets 100, but he could get 100.
Yeah, that's so. I don't see. I don't.
No, I will say this. Like that. Tyler Anderson, like to your point, I mean, he was on a 1-year, $8 million prove it deal, and he proved it.
Yeah.
So if you're 32 and you're Tyler Anderson, I mean, I'd be very surprised if you got less than 2 for 30. It's 15 a year. I mean, that's not chump change. At that price, would you prefer Kodai Senga for 4 years as a 29-year-old or Tyler Anderson for 2 years as a 32-year-old that's had 1 good year in his career? So you got to be a little careful with a player like Tyler Anderson. Dodgers turn these type of players into gold all the time. What do they look like on the other side of being turned into gold? Are they going to overpay for him moving forward? Is the team going to overpay for him based on what he did in 2022? Probably. So I think he's getting $15 million a year. I'd be very surprised if he didn't. Thank you, Carlos, for the super from Mexico. Thanks for hanging out. He says, what's Jose Abreu's market, and would you want him? We'd absolutely want him. It's a 300 hitter at 35. Goodbye Myers and Bell, and keep Drury as a bat. Now, I would think the market would be significant, right? He's a proven slugger in the big leagues entering free agency. So, I mean, I think it would be, it's not going to come cheap.
I mean, with Jose Abreu, he's 35 years old, 36 years old.
No. Is that right? Yeah, he is 35. Okay, yeah. I thought it was like 32. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think he had a great year last year, did he?
I mean, 824 OPS, hit 304. Didn't hit for power. Hit 304, though.
Hit a good year.
Yeah.
I'm looking at
what did he make last year?
He made $19 million last year.
Okay, so give him even that same number. That's a lot of money. 1 year, $19 million deal, 2 year, $40 million deal, 2 year, $35 million deal. I mean, I guess it's doable.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, what's his value on the market? Is his market value the same as it was $20 million, or is it because of his age less than that?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know. And how good defensively is Jose Abreu at 36 years old?
I don't know. Exactly. How much of a factor is that at that position?
How many games did he play last year, John?
Last year, Jose Abreu played, first of all, he had a 4.2 WAR, so he had a very nice year. He played 157 games.
How many games at first base did he play?
Yeah, see, that's what I was actually looking up. And I want to say, I don't have the answer.
Oh, cool.
Where did Jose Abreu play last year? He's the first 128 games. Okay. 128 games. Only 29 games at DH. So he played a lot of first.
Okay.
That's a nice, again, that would be a nice ad, a significant ad. Like you say, he's not exactly a kid. So, like, is he going to hold up? Is he going to, he hit 15 home runs last year. It's not a big number, but he did have an 800 plus OPS, which is
Would you rather have Josh Bell, Brandon Drury, or Jose Abreu?
Well, you're saying Bell, Drury, platoon?
No. Like, you have to pick one of those guys.
If I had the option between Bell, Drury, and Abreu's bat is the most consistent bat, and you can play him every single day. It would probably be Abreu, Drury, 1 and 1A with Abreu over Drury, and then Bell.
Would you be upset if either one of those guys came to San Diego, back to San Diego, or back to San
Diego?
I
honestly wouldn't. I wouldn't. Because my expectations, like yours, are that they're not going to go crazy here, and that these are more than serviceable pieces that might be affordable, and they can help you win. And if they put together good years, like they did before the deadline, they can really help you win.
Yeah, if they re-signed Josh Bell to like a 2-year deal, are people going to be freaking out? No, I think people will be. I think people will be happy with that deal.
Yeah, I think so.
If they brought back Josh Bell, I don't think it would be like oh my God, Josh Bell. Like, no.
You're saying in a bad way, the oh my God, or in a good way?
In a bad way, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it was not a good 2 months. He had a couple of moments in the postseason, though, including against the Phillies, right? In the final game. Had a huge
great NLCS.
Yeah, and the NL wild card, obviously, against the Mets had arguably as big of a hit as they had in that series. So it's not like this guy provided no value. Now, he was not very good in the regular season, but with an offseason and a spring training with your same team and an acclimation process, there's reasons to believe he could be better in 2023 than he was in the end of 2022, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get back to the supers in a moment. As we always do, we need to thank our partners here on the Wrap-Up Show for their support, because you can't do this day in and day out, week in and week out, all year without the support of our partners, including our title sponsor here on the Wrap-Up Show. He's been very good to this channel, Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. If you have insurance needs, you have to get in contact with Mark. We've been telling you about him for over a year. Look at this. He's got a brand new website, new look.
What?
From Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. So get to his new site. There's a link down below. If you have auto, home, renter's life, or earthquake insurance needs, Mark is your guy. Take it from us. I got my homeowners and my earthquake through Mark. He literally saved us hundreds of dollars just by switching. Okay, he can save you $750 just by switching your insurance. And he can save you thousands of dollars if you ever have to file a claim, which we had to do this past year. He made the process so simple and easy. He took care of everything, and he literally saved my family thousands of dollars. So I thank Mark for that. And he's an amazing insurance agent. He's a huge Padres fan. He's a lifelong Padres fan, and he's a native San Diegan. So get in contact with him if you have insurance needs. Next time you get a renewal thing via email or in the mail, before you renew, contact Mark. He's going to save you money, and he's a local business. So support a local business that does business with us. Click the link down below. You can get a quote online. You can get all the information you need. And thank you, Mark, for your support of this channel.
Yeah, all his information is above my head. mnimitz at farmersagent.com. When you reach out to him, let him know that Jon and Jim from the Wrap-Up Show sent you.
So thank you, Mark. Let's get back to this chat and these supers like this from Andrew. Andrew, great to have you with us, and thank you for the super. Thanks for hanging out. Says, should Campusano be the starting catcher in 2023 or get a catcher in free agency or via trade? First of all, what's Nola's status? He's under contract, right? Because he's under contract for multiple years, isn't he?
Yep.
Okay, so Nola presumably could be back. Campusano is obviously not the starting catcher,
no,
in my opinion, in 2023. Could he be the second catcher? Yes. Could he DH for this team? Yes. I don't think he's going to get 100 games starting at catcher in 2023. He could get some games, 50 maybe, in 2023. But this is what we've been talking about a little bit, Andrew, is that do you need to upgrade here? Is this a priority to win a World Series that you have to drastically upgrade at this position or not? Or is Nola good enough because of his game calling ability that you can win with him?
I think Nola definitely improved a lot over the season for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that was the biggest trouble last year was that he couldn't throw anybody out.
Mm-hmm.
And like we said during the Dodgers series, if you could pick one moment to use that one bullet that you had in game 2 versus the Dodgers, throwing out Mookie Betts, like that was a good moment to use it. And that obviously was a great moment. It was a perfect throw, but that was like the first runner he threw out in like 4 months. So you need to upgrade your catcher spot defensively for sure. And to go into next year with just Nola and Campusano, I don't think that's good enough. Also, too, like, can we figure out what Campusano is and what he isn't, please?
That's true. That's true.
I mean, it's like there's been like 3 years now of you got Luis Campusano there, but he's not being used. And is it a situation where the pitchers just don't like him? Is it just like Blake Snell doesn't like him? I know he caught a lot for Joe Musgrove down the stretch, and I thought he did
and
well.
He was good. Yeah.
And he was good.
And he is still young. I don't think there's a reason to quit on him as a catcher. I don't. Now, there's also not a reason to say, hey, just plug him in and make 120 starts at catcher. But I'm not quitting on Luis Campusano. But I do think your point is valid. Like, long-term, the organization has to ask themselves, is he going to be a catcher for you for 3 to 5 years moving forward or not? And if the answer is no, where's he going to play? Is he going to DH for you? Does he have value elsewhere? Does he have value via trade for someone else? Does he have more value via trade than he does for your organization? I think the guy there's upside with Luis Campusano. I just don't know if we're going to see it with the San Diego Padres or not.
Yeah, and I honestly think, we had a lot of discussions here about offense from a catcher. Like when Hedges was here, it was like, this guy fucking sucks, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
He can't hit, but he was good defensively for you. And I think Bob Melvin is the type of guy, being a former catcher himself in the big leagues, that values defense from his catcher spot way more than offense. Like way more. I think that if you could tell him right now, you get a defensive catcher that 80 for you, but he's one of the best defensive catchers in the league, he would take that right now over anybody. Guarantee it.
Well, there just aren't a lot of amazing offensive catchers, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Because the priority of the job is calling games and working with pitching staffs and throwing out runners and defensive acumen. And there's a reason Austin Hedges is still starting in the big leagues today, despite the fact that he hasn't hit 200 in his career. Or if he has, he's just over 200 because it starts at defense and it's preferred over offense. If you can get both, what a win, but it's not something because of that. Knowing that 20 of the 30 teams have defense first catchers, for example, I don't know how much of a priority it's really going to be to upgrade offensively at that position. Now, you're talking about upgrading defensively to shut down run games, which is definitely a priority and something that you need to concern yourself with. But the way baseball is today, especially with the DH in both leagues universally, it's not like the run game is such a big part of baseball that teams take advantage of you day in and day out if you can't throw guys out. Very rarely this year did the Padres give up 3 stolen bases in a game, would be my guess, because nobody runs. So, it's in the ideal world, you would upgrade there and have someone that's better suited potentially than Austin Nola, but I don't know if it's going to be the difference between winning or losing a World Series. But I don't know.
I don't think it's a difference. I don't think it's like the difference between winning a World Series and not, but it's something that needs to be upgraded for sure.
Yeah, it could absolutely be upgraded. There's no question about that. Steve, thank you for the super. Thank you guys for the supers. Just click that $sign in the chat box down below. Great way to support this channel. As you know, we get to each and every super chat and interact with it day in and day out. So Steve says we need slug that can hit. So is this a 95 OPS plus hit 95 plus mile per hour?
Yeah.
Jock Peterson. They do need slug that can hit velocity, and that is absolutely an issue. But like we said yesterday on the radio, just because the Phillies are hitting and slugging doesn't mean that's your path, your exact same path to a World Series. But yes, they need more slug, and they need to be able to hit fastballs.
Yeah, I wanted the Padres to sign Jock Peterson last year.
You did,
and look what he did with the Giants. He was starting left fielder in the All-Star game. He hit 30+ home runs.
His first half was incredible, wasn't it?
His first half was amazing.
Moments.
His second half wasn't that great. But he's a guy that, like, to Steve's point, is this team needs to be better at hitting fastballs.
Yeah.
They're just not good at hitting fastballs.
Agreed.
You got Trent Grisham and Ha-Seong Kim and Austin Nola and I forget who else.
Yeah, you got overmatched. Yeah,
couldn't hit fastballs.
With high velocity. Yeah,
can't hit fastballs. And you have Soto and Manny, but that's not enough.
Yeah, Tatis is a dead fastball hitter, obviously.
Oh, for sure.
Incredible.
His battest speed is insane.
Or was before wrist and shoulder.
You hope he's healthy. But they just need more guys on this team that can hit fastballs, not like sluggers per se, just better fastball hitters. And Jock Peterson is one of those guys who I think would be. Now he's going to probably get a sizable upgrade to what he got last year. I mean, he's on a 1-year, $6 million deal, no incentives.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's an incredible value deal that the Giants got. You pray that the Padres get that kind of value deal. A guy that you signed for $6 million, he hits 30+ home runs. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Right. It's like Profar, we keep talking about he had a very nice year, but it wasn't a 30 home run year. It wasn't an 850 OPS year. It was a low 700 OPS year. Good defensive player, we thought. The metrics might not prove that out, but a lot of assists, some big diving catches that appeared over the course of the year. Right. So, I mean, Profar had a nice year, was making $7 or $8 million. Profar might be due to make 15 plus next year. You're right. Can you find that 6, 7, 8 guy that actually over the course of the year could have earned 10, 15? And it's harder in San Diego. I'll tell you why. And San Francisco's tough too. It's not a great hitting yard. But it's like, and people ask, like, hey, why is it that the Padres at the trade deadline acquire a player like Adam Frazier, who led the National League in hitting, and then doesn't hit a lick? Or they acquire Juan Soto, he's not the same player in San Diego that he was in D.C. There's just so many factors, but I think none bigger than the ballpark. It's a big park with weather factors basically day in and day out year round. Even in July or August or September, marine layer is possibly a factor in San Diego. You can get a hold of a ball in San Diego that doesn't go out, that goes out in 25 of the 30 ballparks. No team plays more games at Petco than the Padres. They'll play 81. No team next year is playing more than 6 because of the new schedule, other than San Diego. You got to build a team around your ballpark. And they have slug. With Machado, Soto, and Tatis, that's legitimate slug. But to expect someone to come in like Brandon Drury and he hits 20 home runs in Cincy, and now you want 30 in San Diego, I'm making it up. I don't know how realistic that is. It's tough to hit consistently for power at Petco Park. Simple as that.
Well, I also was covering this team in 17 or 18.
Right.
And they actually set a franchise record for home runs at Petco Park.
Yeah, but remember the ball was like there was the juice ball, and now there's.
So it's not the ballpark; it's the ball, John.
Yeah, but the ballpark's definitely a factor. Even if the Padres set a record for home runs hit, that doesn't mean they're hitting as many home runs to the New York Yankees at Yankee Stadium.
No, but I'm just saying, like, if they can set a record, like in 2017 with that shit roster, or 2018, whenever it was, with that crappy roster to hit all those home runs. What, like, this roster is light years better than those rosters, and that one hit all those home runs, but this one can't. The ballpark didn't change,
and the humidor.
Well, yeah. So then that blame the ball. Then it's the ball's fault.
Yes and no, but my point is this: balls for whatever. Look at Citizens Bank Park. Look at Yankee Stadium. Look at Fenway. Look at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. to Coors Field, obviously.
Yeah,
like there's some places that are inherently amazing for hitters. Maybe some of that is a level of confidence or just, you can hit in Philadelphia and you can't hit in San Francisco or San Diego. Therefore, you just don't hit for the same amount of power. The truth is Aaron Judge going to hit the same number of home runs the past year if he played for the Padres?
Absolutely
Probably not.
He
now,
would,
guys, yes
40,
or no?
He'd hit 45.
Yeah, which is amazing, but there's a big difference between 40 and 60.
I know.
Okay, so now this dude hits balls 500 feet, but I think the point's still valid. I don't think he would have had the same year or the same OPS playing for the Padres that he has playing at Yankee Stadium with short porches,
Mm-hmm. Well,
let's get to this from Manuel. Manuel, thank you for your super. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for the supers. Just click the $sign in the chat box down below if you want to weigh in and support this channel. He says, a new hitting coach. Here we go. A new hitting coach is a must. Needs some upgrade. Okay, Manuel. And listen, we respect the point, and you're not the first person to make it.
Yeah.
But what is that really going to do? Is that going to make Ha-Seong Kim hit fastballs better? Is that going to make Manny Machado a better offensive player than he was this past year? I mean, what is it like tangibly going to do or mean?
If your first thought to why Juan Soto did not do well in the second half of the Padres in the regular season was it's the hitting coach's fault, I don't know what to tell you.
He didn't even spend that much time with it. What about the previous hitting coach? He needed the Nationals hitting coach to hit? Then why don't the Nationals give their hitting coach $500 million and not Soto?
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. You can argue that philosophically, as an organization, their hitting approach needs to change.
Sure.
And that's completely valid, but I don't think it's just all on like the hitting coach. It's just not. Because what if next year, all of a sudden the Padres are like the greatest offensive team in baseball? Then everyone's gonna be praising Michael Berdar.
And you know what Michael Berdar is going to have next year that he didn't have this year is Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah.
It's like an offensive coordinator gets fired because, whomever, Aaron Rodgers gets injured week 1. It's like, well, if Aaron Rodgers returns, you're probably going to be a lot better of an offense. It could be as simple as that.
If Bob Melvin's managing the Cincinnati Reds this year and they still suck, which they would, does that mean Bob Melvin's a bad manager?
No, it's like, right. Joe Torre managed a long time before he managed the Yankees. Okay.
Yeah. It's
Joe
the
Torre
players
didn't win
matter.
like he won. Exactly.
Yeah. The players make you look good.
Yeah. You need players. I mean, good managing helps as well, I'm sure, but it starts with the players and good hitting coaching. I'm sure there's differences between hitting coaches in baseball. I'm sure there's good ones and there could be bad ones, but to put it all on the hitting coach or to say that if you upgrade your hitting coach, you're upgrading your offense, I think is giving the hitting coach probably too much credit. And when things are going bad, I think hitting coaches take way too much blame. All right. Do you want to get back to the chat in a moment? I also want to thank Aura for their support of this channel. ORA.organic, an amazing company. If you're looking to get healthier, if you want to support this channel, check them out. ORA.organic. There's also a link down below. Click this Build Your Routine button. You're going to get 30% off your very first order. This is all plant-based nutritional products. I'm talking about probiotics. I take one every single day. Already took one this morning. They have proteins for after workouts, which I have not done yet as of yet today, nor will I actually. They have proteins for after workouts. They have pre-workout supplements. They have omega-3 oils, right? If you take fish oils, you could be taking a plant-based omega-3 oil from Aura. They have sleep supplements. They have immunity pills. Literally something for everyone, yourself, your spouse, your family, your friends. Their co-founder, Will, is a San Diegan. They have offices in Liberty Station. Will is a huge Padres fan. So like Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance, if you want to support this channel and those that do business with us, please check out Aura. ORA.organic, 30% off. That's right, 30% off your very first order by clicking the Build Your Routine button down below.
Yeah, go there right now. They have everything you need to live a healthy lifestyle. www.aura.organic. Go there. They have fish oils. They have protein powders, pre-workout powders, everything. When you build your routine, the bottom right-hand corner there, you get 30% off your first order. www.aura.organic. You will thank us later.
Real quick, and if you want to get another super two in, we can roll through them. We probably have another handful of minutes. There's been a lot of chatter, Jim, about where's Tatis going to play. And I think with each passing day, it's becoming more and more obvious where he's going to play. You got this Profar situation. Mm-hmm. You don't have depth in your outfield in 2022. You had a shortstop who is not perfect and is flawed offensively, okay? But he had a lot of improvement from year 1 to year 2. And he's a brilliant defensive player. That was a 5-WAR player. To move a 5-WAR player off position, you might say, well, Tatis is a 7 or 8 or 9-WAR player. But Tatis has not consistently played shortstop now in years. Like you're now without him playing shortstop for multiple years.
Right.
He was playing some outfield the last time we saw him. He's a brilliant athlete. I just think with each passing day, it's more and more obvious this guy's going to be in the outfield by and large in 2023.
Yeah, he's going to be an outfielder now. I don't think first base is an option. I really don't. I don't think second base is an option. I really don't. Maybe if you want to go the route of what Bryce Harper is doing right now, because Bryce Harper is a DH. And I'm not saying that move, putting Tatis just at DH, is like the right move, but if you get Profar back, would you put Profar in the outfield or Tatis in the outfield and put Tatis at DH?
You cannot DH Fernando Tatis Jr.
Why not?
For the season. You can DH him. Okay, you can have an Abreu split, 129 at the position, 25 at DH. You just can't, because he's an athlete, and you're paying him as a 24-year-old to produce in multiple ways. In my opinion, I'm not saying it's the worst thing that would ever happen, how damning on the organization for this to happen, but I'd be very surprised if he was not in the field often. Yes, I know he's injury prone, but he's got to play in the field. There's no way you sign this guy to this $340 million deal and he's going to DH 80% of the time moving forward, in my opinion.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that, but also, like, what's the most valuable part of Tatis's game?
His bat, and it's not close.
And if you have nowhere to put him in the field, or at least you have a situation where you're trying to like figure out where to put him, and then you re-sign Jerkson Profar, or you sign another guy.
You got multiple. You have multiple outfield positions open. Let's say Profar comes back, right? And you want him in left. Well, Tatis or Grisham?
In center?
Right.
Okay, but then, so you're going to just put Grisham on your bench for good?
Yeah, 100%. Or trade him 100%. I mean, Grisham.
But John, he's a 2-time Gold Glove winner. What are you doing?
Fernando Tatis Jr. is a future Hall of Famer without PEDs and without injuries. I mean, again, there's caveats, but like Hall of Fame caliber player or a guy that did nothing all year.
I personally wouldn't care or mind if they DH'd him 70% of the time next year.
Man,
that would not bother me.
Now, as long as he's healthy. If he produces on offense and hits, slugs OPS 950.
And that's exactly what Preller said when he was asked where to put Tatis. He said, just on the field. And DH is on the field. You're helping you're hitting.
You are. I mean, it's better than the alternative of not playing. So you're 100% right there. If someone told me right now 135 at DH or 77 in the field, I'm taking the 135 at DH. I mean, it's not even close.
Right. And I do not care one bit, honestly, where he plays next year, as long as he is on the field hitting for 135 plus games next year.
Yeah, 130 would be a lot. He's going to miss 20.
And he's fully healthy, and he gives you a plus 900 OPS. If he does that, I don't give a shit where he's at. I don't care if he's a DH. I don't care if he's a first. I don't care.
Right, because you're saying what's the fielding really worth compared to the bat? You're saying the bat is 90% of the work.
Yep.
And the fielding is gravy.
And I know Bryce Harper is the DH right now for the Phillies, kind of out of necessity because of his injuries and whatever. And it's defensively in the outfield.
He's also having the best offensive run of his career.
Yeah. So did anybody care that he's just the DH right now?
No, but also when you're putting up 1,400 OPSs and things like that, it's like it doesn't even matter. If he was, like Juan Soto. Listen, I agree with what you're saying, but I would say this. Fernando Tatis Jr. can help you a lot defensively. Now, you don't want it to be at the expense of his health, but this guy is an athlete, as good of an athlete as they have. A run saver, in theory, a big-time run saver, potentially, in the outfield. But at the expense of his health, no. And he hasn't played in 2 years, which is a lot of time, or it's going to be 19 months or whatever it is, and that's a lot of time. If they need to play him at DH more often than not, it's understandable in 2023. I do think moving forward, like 2024, Jim, he's 25 years of age. Like, he's going to have to play in the field, I would think, because you're paying him to play in the field and not just DH, I would think. This is Fernando Tatis Jr. Like, he doesn't want to just DH too. That's got to be a factor. The player is going to want to play. He's a kid still. So,
but if he hits 280 next year with 38 home runs and has an OPS of 920, he's the DH for 120 games of 135. Do you think people would really care?
No, they wouldn't care, but maybe he would. And long term for the next 12 years, I just don't think he's DHing.
I don't think Tatis has many legs to stand on right now.
No, yes, he does.
With the organization.
But come on. I mean,
if they tell him he's a DH, he's a DH.
No, I don't think it's as simple as that, though. I mean, this guy's a significant piece of their future. It's not just like whatever we say now goes.
I'm just talking about next year, John.
So after next year, if he DHs and has 950 OPS, then we're going to put him in the field in 2024, and he's going to start at short every game or start in center because of Trent Grisham.
I don't know. I just don't care about like really where he plays, because all I care about is his bat, and if his bat and his energy is better suited as a DH next year, and then that's fine with me.
But okay, last point, and then we'll go. But why would you want to play Grisham anyway? See what I'm saying? Like, so Tatis is a DH because there's not room for Tatis under that premise. Well, there is room for him because Trent Grisham has no value compared to Fernando Tatis Jr., right? So why would Grisham play over Tatis in any scenario other than health?
Tatis would play over Grisham if that would mean they'd have to sign to someone else. Because if you're taking Grisham and you're putting him profile returns, and then you have Grisham out there with Soto, okay. I mean, is that a better defensive outfield than with Tatis out there?
But I'm on your point, which is A, who cares? B, I don't think so. But A, who cares? Because if you could take Grisham's bat out and insert Tatis's bat for him, that's the real upgrade.
Well,
700 OPS to 900 OPS is the upgrade.
Yeah.
And you still have a DH bat that can be an 800 OPS player in Drury, Bell, whomever. That's the real upgrade. But the real upgrade isn't keeping Grisham to keep Tatis in the lineup. It's getting rid of Grisham to put Tatis in the lineup. That's your real offensive upgrade, in my opinion.
And if they get rid of Grisham, or they figure out that Grisham's long-term for a full 162 game season just isn't that guy, then yeah, right. Tatis is your center fielder de facto day one next year. Absolutely.
It's going to be interesting to watch. We'll be back with you, obviously, throughout the offseason, each and every week, multiple times. Thanks for hanging out. Subscribe, smash the like button, follow us on Twitter. Make sure to do all those things. And please listen to us on the radio as well. We'll be back on the radio talking Padres baseball this afternoon. The all-new San Diego Sports 760. We are on from 3 to 6 p.m. Now, before we get out of here, we do need to remind you about our podcast as well. And we're going to do that right now. So here's the thing. If you are unable to watch the wrap-up show, or you're on the run and you're in your car or you're working out, we have the official podcast of FryersOnBase.com, and you can get this podcast wherever podcasts are available. We're presented by Eric Lanier at Higher Impact Financial and HigherImpactFinancial.com. Eric's in San Diego, and if you're wondering if you're financially strong enough to leave your corporate job and start your own business, if you're tired of being surprised by how many taxes you owe every year, get in contact with Eric at Higher Impact Financial. Give him a call. Along with that, Eric can help make sure your family's protected by helping you get a trust established. In fact, you can give him a call and get $200 off your trust. 951-383-3033. The number to call, 951-383-3033. Schedule your first meeting. Eric is a San Diegan and a huge Padres fan and supports this channel. Advisory services are offered through Welltech Partners, a registered investment advisor that only conducts business in states where it's properly registered or is excluded from registration requirements. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Investing involves risk and possible loss of principal capital. All right, Jim, I will see you this afternoon. We'll talk some Padres on the radio from 3 to 6.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Mark Nimitz. Thank you, Aura. Thank you guys for hanging out, and we'll see you soon right here on the wrap-up show.
Thank you, Eric Lanier.